Hey, welcome back, everybody. Sarcasm Speaks, Jared and Bob here. Playing hurt today again. And not again, just in general. Um, I think I thought about it today. I woke up. Let's be honest, right? I'm not gonna like do this whole fucking song and dance like, oh, I'm so sick, whatever. No, I got the sniffles,
Good, because
right?
I'll just fucking get out of here.
Yeah, no, I got
I've been sick for a fucking month.
So I got something, right? I started feeling like shit yesterday. Surprisingly, for the first time in a very long time, I felt somewhat actually better today. Um, so we'll see what tomorrow brings, but I got the sniffles, right? But it got me to thinking. I think this is potentially the first time I've been sick since I think I had COVID in when was that? Like Thanksgiving of 2021? Yeah. It was like end of November, beginning of December 2021. Like I was thinking back, like I don't know, maybe I had like some random like I'm always good for like I get sick for like a couple days in like fucking June, right? And I'm always like, oh, who the fuck gets sick in June? But I have. I don't that I may have gotten that, but like I know I wasn't sick this past June. Um, because Amy was pregnant, right? And I that would have been like a little bit of an ordeal, right? I would have been like, oh no, I can't get my pregnant wife sick. I gotta kind of like watch what I'm doing, but that didn't happen, right? So I think this is the first time I've actually been sick in like at least a year and a half. It's kind of
Now,
wild when you think about
why
it.
do you think it's a good idea to tempt fate with something like that? You could have just kept your mouth shut.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get like fucking hepatitis now
You'll
or
be sick for a
something.
month.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I mean, I like because that's the thing is like, oh well, I usually don't get sick, or I usually don't get like really sick. I was in fucking tough shape 2 weeks ago, and I'm not 100% back yet.
oh, dude, did you get tested?
No,
For
that would
that,
require going to a doctor.
yeah, for that disease that only exists if you test for it.
My mother said that a couple times. She goes, "Oh, you gonna go to the doctor?" I go, "No, why?"
Yeah,
She's like,
why would
well,
I?
what if you need like medicine? I go, are they going to do anything for me? Because generally they don't.
Yeah,
She goes,
I mean,
maybe you're right. I go, yeah, no.
we've at least hopefully moved past that a little bit at this point, 3 years later, right? Where
No, dude,
back in
you'd be surprised, dude.
in 2021, if you remember, like if you were sick, you would go to the doctor, they would COVID test you, and if you tested negative, they would just send you home. Like they wouldn't even help you.
I was gonna be well. That's what I mean. So that's why, like, I didn't. Well, I didn't go because I don't go to the doctor. They're all assholes.
Yeah,
But like that was my other thing. I go, well, then I run the risk of them just saying, "Oh, well, you're COVID positive. Bye," and it's
right.
like, well, what? No, 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 not bye. Give me something.
Yeah.
Because it's like if that's what it is, okay, fine, but like treat this or
Yeah. Oh
don't.
no, there is no treatment,
Well,
right?
then
There's
that's the other thing. Because well, no, so fucking
the vaccine.
politics.
Yeah, the vaccine is the treatment. For the first time in human scientific history, a vaccine is a treatment.
Yeah. So
Okay.
politics aside, if it is viral, there's nothing that they can give me. It would have to be bacterial for them to give me anything.
Right.
So I'm like, no, I'm not going. This is fucking stupid. Plus,
Yeah.
I'm actually sick right now.
Right.
Like, I don't have COVID. I'm actually sick.
Yeah.
There's a fucking difference.
No, there is a difference. Like I had COVID. I know the feeling of having it, and I know the feeling of having a regular cold because I've been alive for 32 years, right? Like there's getting sick and then there's getting COVID. When I had COVID, it was totally different than anything I had really experienced because I was allegedly sick, right? But I didn't feel sick. But I got the random fucking, jolting chest pains, right? I got the myocarditis, right? That again, I wasn't diagnosed. That's a self-diagnosis, but for,
Doctor now.
yeah, but from everything what you hear, right? Like that was what myocarditis felt like, and I checked those boxes. So yeah, it was a weird fucking thing, right? I was a weird sickness. I didn't feel sick, but I was sick, and I thought I was having a heart attack like 3 times a day. Um, and it only lasted for like 2 days, and then I got better, right? And I got the monoclonal antibodies, and I got all that treatment, and I got better, and I tested negative 2 days later, right? So it was like it's strange. I've never been sick like that before in my life.
That's what I told my mother. I go, I'm taking something cold and flu. I go, what's a doctor gonna give me? I go, I have the flu, basically.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, is what it is,
She
right?
doesn't have it. But again, she doesn't have an answer. She's got like too much of the old school idea. Oh, if you're sick, you go to the doctor, and it's like, no, it ain't like that anymore. Doctors don't help.
No, they don't. They got exposed. Well, I don't know if they necessarily got exposed as much as they got corrupted more during COVID, because like hospitals would get paid more if they had more COVID patients, and like if people died from COVID, the hospital would get money from the federal government to like assist with whatever.
It's
So
really funny, like
it was
going
an
back and like thinking
incentive.
about that.
Yeah, it was an incentive for hospitals to say that people had or died from COVID.
And
Remember, didn't we do something on this show? Someone died of a gunshot wound, and they said it was COVID.
okay, so I brought that up, but the context of that was that's what someone tried to tell me, which is not fucking true. But the so I think because I remember the woman who told me that, and I'm like, that cannot be true. There's no way someone shot themselves in the head. They tested them for COVID and goes COVID positive. That's the cause of death. It's like that's no way that that's possible. Um, but I think the thought was, or I assume my take was, this is what's happening though is if you have like whatever pneumonia and you die in the hospital, but you were also COVID positive when you were admitted, it's like it's a COVID death.
Right,
And it's
right.
like, no, the cause of death is, you know, the medical fact. Like this is the other thing too. It's
It's like
like,
AIDS. You don't die from AIDS, you die with AIDS, right? Like that's
yeah,
basically what COVID was.
on
You
that
didn't die
idea.
from COVID, you died
But that's the
with
thing is
COVID.
like, so I don't know much about HIV and AIDS and all of it, but it's like if you're suffering from AIDS
The cure is money.
and you get pneumonia and die, you fucking died of pneumonia,
Right,
not AIDS,
right,
because AIDS doesn't actually kill you.
right.
Um, yeah, because like even with cause of death, like there's not always like just one thing, but usually the cause of death is like multiple factors that theoretically could kill somebody.
Yeah. Yeah,
Now,
I
this
mean
is
that's usually
obviously,
when people say like old age, right? If you died of old age or natural causes,
yeah,
it's usually like a multitude of factors
yeah,
that
or it's like, you know, the the info, it's like, well, high blood pressure and
right.
atherosclerosis and
Diabetes.
the beatus. Yeah,
I'm Wilford Brimley.
it's
I
not
have
just that
diabetes.
simple.
But yeah, I mean, kind of this is an interesting segue. Um, Let me pull this up from Roca News. Shout out to them. If you guys aren't fucking sick of me talking about Roca yet, you might as well just download the app. Um, so since we're talking about COVID, let's see if we can turn this episode into our second strike on YouTube, because the AI algorithm will talk about COVID. We'll scan it and hear us say the word COVID so many times that we'll probably get dinged. Um, So we'll see. But if it follows our first strike on YouTube, it won't be until like sometime in like fucking November. We'll get dinged for this
Should we
episode that
talk
comes
about
out in February.
sandwiches again
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the
in
title of the
breads?
episode was sandwiches. Like I think we talked about the vaccine for like fucking five
It was the
minutes.
sandwich conspiracy.
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly what it was. It was the
Open face
sandwich.
breads.
Yep. Yep. They didn't like us talking about open faced bread and stuffed bread. That's really what it was. They used the vaccine as a cover.
Big sandwich.
Yeah, big sandwich paid him off. So I got this on Broken News. Their app is awesome. If you haven't downloaded it yet, just go do it. They're great. Um, this article was today. It was produced today. So the largest ever vaccine safety study linked COVID shots to slight increases in some neurological and heart related illnesses. So, the actual study last week, a consortium of research groups published a study in the journal Vaccine that investigated 13 different medical conditions in 99 million COVID vaccinated people. So, your N is not one in this case, your N is 99 million.
Well, if there was
Uh,
anything like loose stagners,
oh yeah,
PMs,
the more data you have, that's
it's
bad.
too many numbers. It's
Yeah,
too much
too much data. Yeah. Um, so it was the most comprehensive study yet Jesus Christ. It was the most comprehensive study yet analyzing the links between COVID vaccines and health issues. The researchers calculated, quote, expected rates of the 13 conditions in the sample group using pre-COVID healthcare data. So they took, you know, whatever data they had pre 2020, right? And they said this on average is how many people had these health conditions prior to this event. Now let's look at how many people have these health conditions now. So they then compared that to observed data from participants who received a COVID vaccine and found many more cases of those conditions than expected. The study found that mRNA vaccines, those produced by Pfizer, Moderna, and BioNTech, were associated with higher than expected rates of myocarditis, in parentheses, inflammation of the heart muscle. The highest increase in observed to expected myocarditis rates occurred after the second Moderna shot. So if you got two Moderna shots, you were the most likely to get myocarditis. The study also found links between the Moderna shots and other heart illnesses. Researchers also discovered a statistically significant link between an Oxford developed COVID vaccine and Guillain Barre syndrome, a neurological disorder that can lead to paralysis. It's basically like ALS, it's like a different version of ALS. So, based on their calculations, researchers expected to see 66 cases of Guillain Barre syndrome, right? Because that's what the average was in the population pre COVID. Instead, they saw 190. That's
more than 66.
yeah, that's a 150% increase, roughly. So, more than that. That's a 200% increase. Just about. So they also identified a link between that vaccine, again, the Oxford vaccine, and 69 cases, nice, of a type of blood clot in the brain versus the expected number of 21. So again, that's 3 times. That's 3 times more likely from that Oxford vaccine to get a blood clot in your brain, and twice as likely to get Guillain-Barré syndrome.
Are blood clots in the brain preferred?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. That's usually where you want them.
Yeah, like if you're gonna get them, like you definitely want them in the brain, right?
Yeah. The brain doesn't really need that much blood, so it's fine if they're all in the brain.
Cool.
Yeah. Because ketones and stuff. Several countries, including Denmark, restricted the use of that Oxford vaccine because of those links, right? So then they wrap it up here and say the researchers also identified potential links between COVID vaccines and other conditions. Truthfully, I didn't look up the study itself, so I don't know what those are. But there's 13 of them, right? And there would be 11 other ones, right? If myocarditis and Guillain-Barré are two of the 13, there's 11 other ones that they looked at. And then it's important to note that the study was correlational, not causational, meaning it does not claim that the COVID vaccines necessarily cause the observed health effects. However, it is noting the increased following people receiving these vaccines. Nearly 14 billion vaccines have been administered globally since the outbreak of the pandemic, and that's all, folks. So yeah, here we are, roughly 4 years later, and we're starting to realize, shit, maybe that wasn't the best idea to force everyone to get this, huh? Because now there's like hard science, right? All those people back in 2021 are like, trust the science. Trust the science. Listen to the scientists. If you question Dr. Fauci, you question science. Well, now the scientific data, right? These studies, albeit again, they're not
Yeah.
causational, they're
Well, plus
correlational.
there's too many numbers too.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's too much data. Yeah, too much data is bad. That gives you an inaccurate sample the more data you
Correct.
have. Yeah, the less data you have, the more accurate things are. Everyone knows that.
Yes.
Um, so now all this data is saying, hey, since we gave these people these vaccines, right? There's been this much increase in these other conditions, these other health conditions. Maybe there's something to this. Maybe we fucked up just a little bit, right?
I'm gonna pivot a little bit because the research is the research, right? And I don't really have much to add to it. But how about the assholes that got fucking tattoos related to the vaccine, like after it was like available?
Oh yeah, they're fucking losers.
How about them? Where are those people right now?
Uh,
I'd like to know.
probably have myocarditis and died of a stroke.
No, no, no. People like that can't just die. They're too big of assholes. They
Yeah,
need to
it's
stay.
true.
They need to stay in this world and bother me somehow. I would. I would be
Let's
curious to know.
involve Gary Jeffries.
I would love to know the COVID vaccine tattoo people. Where you
Yeah,
at?
yeah.
Because I thought that like that was such a weird thing.
Yeah, well, it's
I,
mental illness. Like so many people have mental illness. I think the one thing that the pandemic actually confirmed is that there's a lot of people that are really fucked up, right? And we've talked about this before in multiple different facets on the show, right? There's 8 billion people in the world. If 1% of those people are psychotic or like extremely mentally ill, that's 8 million people. 8 million people.
that's only
There's,
1%.
and that's only if assuming 1%. There's 6 million people that live in the state of Massachusetts, right? So assuming 1% of the world's population is severely mentally ill and like clinically psychopathic, right? That's 8 million people. It's a lot of fucking people. And I'd be willing to bet, I mean, if you take the severe, right? Like if you just make it like fucked up and like crazy, some sort of psychopathy, it's for sure more than 1% of people. I mean, how high does it go? I don't know. Is 10% maybe? Maybe 10% of people is a fair number that are like have some sort of psychopathy.
So let me do some quick math. 1% 8, 8.
10% would be 80 million people.
Uh, it's a third of 8. It's like 2 and change.
Yeah.
That means by my calculations, there's only about 12 million smart people on this planet. Because if 97.3% of fucking people are complete morons.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I went backwards. About 16 million. About 16 million. If 97.3% of people are absolute idiots, that only leaves 2.7% of people that are intelligent, which only has 16 million people on this planet. And I'm proud to be one of those 16 million.
That would be 216 million. Right? Let's do the
How
math
did
here.
that work out? How the fuck?
8 billion, right?
Yeah.
Times
What's 1%?
times 0.026, right? What did you say? 97.3. So that's 2.3%. So that's times 0.023, right? That's 2.3% of people. 184
Hey,
million, sorry.
do you want the good news or the bad news then?
What?
You missed a complete decimal point because I didn't actually do the math. I just took the math and multiplied it by what you said. Because 8 billion is 80 million, is 1%.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so I missed a decimal point
Yeah,
somewhere.
okay. That's why my math was off because I didn't actually do the math.
I don't know. Let's ask Google. What is 2.7% of 8 billion? Well, that's fucking dumb. I have to type out the actual number. How many zeros are
No,
in a
you're
billion?
right. It's yeah, it's like 200 million because my okay, so here's how my issue was. 1% of 8 billion is 80 million. It's not 8. So I just took for what you said as correct and multiplied it by 2 and then just took a portion and added it back on.
Okay.
So it should be 80, which means if it was 2.5%, that's 200 million.
Yeah, 216 million people. That's not
There's
that much
there's
people.
gotta be there's gotta be more people
There's
with like
350 million people that live in the United States, right?
there's
So,
way more people that have like severe mental illness than intelligent people on this planet. It has to be. I won't believe it. I will not believe otherwise.
yeah, I mean, someone could also probably make the argument that those two are probably closely related,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, because it's like again, like I at least am smart enough to like I'm not a smart person. Like what does Forrest Gump say? I don't know, whatever. Like I'm not a
I'm
smart
not a
person,
smart man.
but I'm at least aware enough to know that everybody around me is also not smart.
Right.
Like I don't know anyone that's truly really intelligent.
Yeah, I mean, I've certainly run into those people.
Yeah, they exist. I don't know anyone.
Yeah, I don't like, yeah, like I'm not friends with them. Like I don't know them personally, but like I've definitely interacted with people where like I can tell that they're operating on a different like operating system.
Well, and that's the other thing is like so
Like I might be on like Windows 98 and they're on fucking, Windows XP.
and like so that like that's the thing is like your financial advisor might be like quite good at what he or she does.
Yeah.
but that's like their education background. It doesn't
Right.
mean they're like independently intelligent.
Correct.
And I try to explain this to the kids all the time. Now this comes a little bit like from Haslam, where he goes, "Oh,
Why do I make my test so hard?
why do I make the test so hard and do the scale? Because
Yeah.
why want you guys to know that you don't know shit?" Same thing with the kids. Like, just because you get an A in a fucking class doesn't mean you're smart. It just means you did
Right.
your work.
Right. Right.
That's it. Like we've definitely said it before. There are drug dealers that are smarter than most
Oh yeah.
like scholarly kids.
Yeah. I mean, they can do math off the top of their head. They can convert grams to ounces and all that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Even like a business sense or
yeah, yeah.
like the stuff that like actually makes people smart.
Right.
Not your fucking grades. It's not your fucking schoolwork.
And I mean, I guess it also depends on your definition of intelligence too. Like, are you going purely off IQ, right? Because someone, like you said to your point, right? Like someone could have a 95 IQ, right? That's like slightly below average. Average is 100.
No,
So
that's actually
someone,
an A. That's an A plus because it's out of 100.
yeah, yeah. Someone could have a 95 IQ, but they studied really hard and went to school to be a financial advisor, and they're a kick-ass financial advisor. Like, to
Yeah, or
use
it's
your example, like they might be a fantastic person
like they just
at
get
their job.
cars, so they're a great mechanic. Like,
Right, right. But so their IQ is a 95, right? And it's like, what is, like, that's what I mean. Like, what is your definition of intelligence, right? Is it simply the IQ? Is it practical? Because then there's also like emotional intelligence, right? Like the EQ, people's EQ has been a little bit more in light recently with like social media and like, it's been like a hot topic. Well, not anymore, but it was for a little while in like corporate world, right? Like, oh, people's EQ, like you want someone with a high emotional quotient, right? That can understand emotions. Um, but like, yeah, like I said, it just depends on what your standard of intelligence is.
yeah, I mean that's hard because I mean like truly, actually like brilliant people,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
someone who can tell me the tax code.
because you could have someone that this is going to sound awful, right? But you can have someone with moderate to severe autism, right? That can do insane mathematics. I'm talking like what's that dude's name? Steve Nash, like from Russell Crowe in A Beautiful Mind.
Sons?
Yeah, yeah. Something Nash was his name. I think it was Steve Nash, but whatever. Like Russell Crowe in A Beautiful Mind. Like you can have someone moderate to severely autistic that can do game theory level mathematics in their head, but they can't fucking tie their shoes, right? Or
And
like they
I
drool on
would
themselves.
also say intelligence is difficult because you need to not only walk the walk, but you got to be able to explain the walk. And
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
and
think
that's
certain people with autism they can't explain it.
right, and that's part of it too, right? So there's a lot of nuance there, right? Like what how do you define intelligence?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like so when I say because again, it's my statistic and it's my definition of intelligence. And like I said, I'm not smart, so I don't have a fucking criterion here of what makes someone smart because what makes someone smart is they just need they need to think differently than everybody else. They need to think better, think differently. They come up with solutions that fucking work. They do it fast and they can explain what they're talking about in a fucking real way. So it's like again, someone who's good at their job, maybe they're intelligent, but probably not.
Yeah. John Nash, by the way. That's the guy from A Beautiful Mind.
He did not play for the Suns.
Yeah, he did not. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and there's people that if you want to go back to like the IQ thing, there's people that might have like a 120 IQ, which is good, right? Like that's pretty smart. But then there's people like Elon Musk that I don't know what his IQ is, but I don't know how high the number goes. I think it might go to 200. He might be like a 180, right? So like that's the thing. Like, I think they say the average college graduate or like a master's degree level person has somewhere between like a 120 and a 140 on average, right? IQ. Um, you and I probably pull that fucking average down, but
Would be 160, but
yeah.
apparently some programs just hand out master's degrees.
But there's certainly people that you talk to, right? Like I said, like I'm working in the world that I work in now, and I interact a lot with pharmaceutical companies and like scientists and research and development scientists, and then there's you know actual pre-development scientists, and whether it's like a pilot plan or production, they're all different, right? Like, but the research scientists are a different breed, and like some of them are, like I said, they're running on a different operating system. Like we're running Windows 98 and they're running fucking Windows XP, right? Like it's not the same thing, right? Like you can tell that their brain just works differently.
Well, there's also examples too, because I don't like to just stick with like grades, profession, education, whatever. So it's like we spoke with a contractor not that long ago, and showed up, and I feel like he knew exactly what we wanted. And I know we had spoken to him before, so we had a general idea. I think he knew exactly what we were going to ask him for before he even showed up.
Yeah.
And because he walked in, didn't write a single thing down. And like I think it was Ross Patterson did his podcast one time. He goes,
Yeah.
you don't get extra tips for fucking remembering
Yeah, the bar
or for
the
memorizing the
waitresses.
server. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't write
Write
anything down.
write down my fucking order.
He didn't write anything down. He almost effectively didn't ask any follow-up questions. Was basically like, okay, well, you probably want to do this, right? Yep. It's like, okay. It's like, hey, can we cut this? He goes, yep, we can do that. No problem. And then Chris had said something, and I had noticed. I'm like, that doesn't make Steve. It's the guy. Steve's like, no, we're not doing that. He goes, what I'll do is he goes this. And I'm like, yeah. He goes, okay. So then it's like I get the quote from him. Every fucking detail is included. He didn't write a
Yeah.
goddamn thing down. So not only did he effectively like he took information like now again preliminarily he knew what some of it would be,
Right.
but he took information about like what our business is. He looked at the space, he knows the space, and he basically formulated what we were going to do before we even fucking spoke to him.
Right.
And then he took that information, had it all, put it all into a quote, got it over to me, no mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Like,
that's pretty
so
intelligent.
I'm not going to say like he's breaking any records of intelligence here because he might just be a really good contractor. Now, that would be like the same example that I was using before, where it's like someone can be a good accountant, but like whatever. Like, I don't know, maybe he's a fucking complete moron, but
Yeah.
like that's the type of stuff too, where it's like, did he go to Harvard? No.
Right.
Again, is he a fucking in a lab? No. But like, how many people would have fucking sent that quote and would have been, and then I would have had to reply back and be like, "Hey man, points 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 are all fucking fucked up.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not what we talked about.
Yeah. You should have wrote it down.
Like, this is not what we did. This isn't what we fucking talked about at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, either you can't do it or you just didn't listen. I don't know which one. No, straight through. Like,
Yep.
and again, it was like, I'm not saying that he's super intelligent, but just the fact that he almost like predicted the situation before it even started.
Right.
That's a certain level of intelligence that like a lot of people don't have.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's totally fair.
No, I don't know. He could be a fucking crackhead outside of fucking
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, that's
contracting.
one of
Like,
those situations too where like he could just be really good at his job.
right.
Right?
And he
Because
could
in the
have,
same breath, right, that I said that, the scientists that I talked to that operate on a different platform, like you ask them to do a simple task and they can't fucking do it. Right?
and
Like
then
they
that's
don't,
important
they
too,
just
because,
like brain doesn't compute, fucking
right.
steam comes out of their ears and they fucking blow up, right? They're like, I don't know what do you mean I have to put labels on things and have them move? Like you're not going to do this for me? You mean I have to pack up my own shit? Oh no, I didn't know I had to pack up my own things. Like, you know what I mean? It's just and it's just simple shit that they just don't get, right? So like we joke all the time like, this one particular client like these scientists can cure the most disgusting, awful diseases, right? That destroy people. But you ask them to like fucking, you know, do one simple thing and they can't do it. They just fucking freeze.
Yeah, ask him to do something like abstract.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So if like you were a giraffe, like where would you live?
Yeah.
Why would I be a giraffe?
Yeah.
I don't know. Where giraffes live? Like what's the habitat of a giraffe?
Yeah. Or
Like
like
where would I go? What
something
would I do? What would I
something
eat?
simple as like
What would eat me?
a certain piece of equipment, right, that they use every single day that might need a liquid nitrogen line or some sort of gas line, right? Maybe it needs like carbon dioxide gas piped to it. You use this piece of equipment every single day. You know that it will not function without carbon dioxide. And you want to put it in a spot in your lab that doesn't have a carbon dioxide line coming from the ceiling.
Yeah, what's the problem?
This isn't going to work. Well, why not? Well, because the line isn't plumbed. Like the line is plumbed over there where you agreed to put this piece of equipment. Well, yeah, I changed my mind. I don't want it there anymore. Okay, well, we have a fucking problem here because I can't just wiggle my nose and make a fucking copper pipe that it
Just move it.
leads to carbon dioxide come down from the ceiling.
Why don't you just move the pipe?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, I'll just pull on the pipe really hard and just move it. Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's like simple shit like that that is common sense that they just don't understand.
And that's why the percentage of idiots in this world is so high.
Right, because you can be intelligent and still be dumb. A la my scientist example.
Well, I was gonna say you can have a high education level and you can have like a fairly prestigious job and still be stupid.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And there's very few like actually smart people out there.
Yeah. Oh, I 100% agree. So, um another interesting thing to pile on. Yeah, I told you this is the episode that's going to get us fucking kicked off YouTube in like November. Um One more thing that I just saw about the vaccine, because let's fucking pile on. Um, where is it? I just had it on Twitter. It was RFK Jr.
Oh God.
tweeted it out. Robert Kennedy Jr.
The stupidest fucks of them all these fucking politicians.
Um, so he retweeted someone who's kind of a putz. This guy DC Drano, who he's a like Republican fucking loser. He's just as bad of a Republican as like all the fucking lefties are of everything else. He just feeds into the fucking propaganda and the hate just on the right side instead of the left. But regardless, he does bring up a point here. It's a screenshot of the American Red Cross, their website. You have to fill out like a pre-questionnaire if you want to donate blood. So one of their questions on their questionnaire is, have you ever received the COVID vaccine? And underneath that question It says yes, no, or skip, which I think is really funny given what I'm about to read. Um, and then there's a little thing at the bottom that says, if you answer yes to this question, please call this number. And they put the number down before coming in to donate to determine if this could affect your eligibility. So this guy, DC Drano, is saying, like, if you answer yes to this question, they want you to call ahead to see if you're still eligible. I thought the vaccine was safe and effective. What other info are they hiding from us? So again, that last line, it makes him the insufferable fucking Republican cunt bag that he is. Like, oh, what else are they hiding? But he does bring up a fair point, which is the tough thing, right? He's kind of a fucking putz, but the point itself is an interesting one. Um, if you answer yes, if you have received a COVID vaccine, it may make you ineligible to donate blood. Why? So RFK Jr. retweeted that and said the propaganda is beginning to unravel. Like that's how RFK Jr. comes into this. That's how I saw it. It was kind of interesting. No, like given everything, like what we just talked about, like that study that just came out, the correlative study again, right? Not causative. Um, but the correlative study that noticed, hey, things aren't the way they were pre-COVID, right? Pre-vaccine. These things like Guillain-Barré syndrome and myocarditis are a lot higher in these groups than they were, pre-2019. And now we have the American Red Cross wanting you to call to see if you're still eligible if you've ever had a COVID vaccine, right?
Yeah, I
So it's
wonder. I
like,
wonder. I wonder what that's about.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
If I gave a fuck, I'd call, but I don't,
Yeah.
so I'm not gonna.
Yeah. 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 I don't really care to talk to anybody from the Red Cross. I don't plan on donating blood. Right. So it's like,
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not eligible again. I'm like still like another 14 months. Yeah, I've never given blood, so I say that like I was like, oh, I'm really used to giving blood, but tattoos.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even be eligible for another 14 months, I think. And
Yeah.
even then, I'm not. So
Yeah. I've only given blood a few times in my life, and I don't think I've given blood in like 7 or 8 years. So,
it's funny too, because it feels like an easy enough one that I could just do it. I just don't. Here we
yeah.
are.
Yeah. Same. Same. But it's, it's hard, right? Because what do you do, right, with that information with people from people, right? Like again, obviously that guy DC Drano is kind of a fucking cunt, but he does have a valid point, and it is a very interesting thing, right? I'm not saying one way or the other, right? And neither one of us is going to call to find out, but it is interesting
Yeah,
that the Red Cross would do that.
I wonder if it has something to do with because I would lean to think that it doesn't have anything to do with the blood. I don't understand what could potentially be wrong with the blood, but if you do have enlarged heart muscle, and maybe you're an unhealthy person, and
Right.
maybe you're a little bit older,
Right.
giving whatever the quantity of blood that you give is might be stupid.
Right.
Like it might be detrimental to you, not
Right.
like you're giving bad blood or something.
Right. No, no, no. Yeah, that's probably what I think it is too. I don't think it has much to do with the blood either.
Yeah, it
I
doesn't
think,
make a lot of sense, right?
yeah, no, I think it's more of a preservation for
Plus,
yourself.
they could just boil it and it would kill all the bacteria.
Well, yeah, duh.
That's what Charlie Day would do.
Yeah, you have to pasteurize the blood.
Yeah, you boil the blood. Yeah, so I mean, it's got to be for the user. So I think it's like if you're already like a compromised type person, and the vaccine. But I don't know. I mean, that's just like that's an odd one.
Yeah.
It probably has to come up for liability. It's like, well, you didn't ask if I was vaccinated. It's like, all right, here we go. Now we
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, again, it's one of those things that, like, you know, here we are 4 years later, and things like this are popping up, and you have the people back then, right? They're like, see, I told you. And it's like, okay, yeah, maybe they were right, right? Like there's a very real possibility that they were right, right? That this thing was bad. And I think your stance the whole time that I agreed with was it's more likely to do nothing than it is to actually help or hurt, right? Like
Right.
it's that you have a higher probability of it doing nothing than of it doing good or of it doing bad. And I still kind of stick to that. I think that remains true for most people. And it's unfortunate because I do think some people had some awful side effects and some people probably did die because of the shot. Not probably. We know for a fact they did. So not probably. Some people did die because of it. But because of political reasons, right? And effectively because of Donald Trump, right? Because he fucking broke everyone's brain, admitting that someone died from getting the COVID vaccine is like fucking like murdering an old lady with a dead fetus. Right? Like it's like, oh no, I don't no, you can't do that. That's fucking unforgivable. Like you can't admit this is tied to everything I believe in. It's like,
I
no.
got the tattoo to show you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got two tattoos. um, but yeah, it's I don't know, it's just it's weird, right? Because you can't have even 4 years later, like we're closer to having like an actual discussion on it, but I feel like you still kind of can't
No, we're
because
not.
people,
People have gotten stupider in four
yeah,
years.
people are like just more ideologically fucking dug their heels in. And it's like, okay, well, you can't accept the fact that some people died because they got this vaccine. Like that's a fact. Right? No, 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 nope, 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 nope. I bet you voted for Trump. I bet you voted for Trump, huh? It's like, okay, like what? What are you doing? I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like I said, it's that Trump derangement syndrome that people literally have. I was in a meeting the other day, actually. This has nothing to do with anything we've been talking about all show. But I was in a meeting the other day, and this older woman is like running the meeting, and she stops because her phone vibrates and goes, yeah. I'm like, what? And she's like, she reminds me of someone that would come into like the liquor store when I was working there and be like, yeah, I'm gonna get a pack of Parliaments, like, and a nip of Goldschlager. Like that's who this woman is that one of the clients we're working with. And she stops the meeting and goes, yeah, my guy. And then everyone's kind of like, what the fuck? And it was an informal meeting. We were meeting in like a kitchenette. It was just kind of like touching base on something. She was like, they got him. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? She goes, Trump, they got him. And it was last week when the judge ruled that he owed like $355 million in damages and can't be a CEO of any business doing business in New York for 3 years or something. And she was like flipping out. She was like, yeah, like you would have thought that she just found out that, like, I don't know, like she just fucking won the lottery or something. Or like she just like, Oprah just called her to give her a new car. Like she was ecstatic. And I'm sitting there like, are we really doing this right now? Like we're in a meeting, like talking about shit that like we gotta keep an eye out for over the next couple days or whatever. And like, you're just going to stop to gloat about some guy that you've never met that doesn't even know you exist. But because like he said mean things on TV, like your day is now exponentially improved because something bad happened to him. Like, I don't know. It's just, It's very, very strange.
Well, it's also ramping up right now. And it's going
Yeah.
to be like, dude, this is going to be a long 9 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, long 9 months.
I mean, I won't vote for the guy. I mean, unless Vivek is his VP, which I've come out and said I will vote for Vivek if whatever ticket he's on. If he makes a ticket. But I want like unless that, I won't vote for the guy, but fuck man, I want him to win.
I don't know if I do because, but again, it's like, you
Well,
can't.
realistically, I would like RFK Jr. to win, but I know that's impossible because
I would rather a fucking ham sandwich won at this point. Like,
yeah.
everyone's fucking useless. And it's like, I just can't do it. It's
Yeah.
it's too polarizing, man.
Yeah.
Like, God, it's so insufferable. Both sides, because I have to hear both sides at work. And I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, I really don't give a shit about your politics, right? It's like one of those things like again, in that meeting there was one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. There was like 9 people in this meeting, right? Again, we were just at like a high top table, like doing like quick, it wasn't like a formal, presentation on Microsoft Teams or anything or Zoom in front of like tons of people. But still, there were 9 people that were in the room and you stopped the meeting to gloat about Donald Trump? The fuck are we doing?
We probably would have got fired. I think I would have got fired. So I definitely would have said something.
Yeah. Yeah, like I kind of wanted to. Like I don't like I said, I don't even like the guy, but I kind
Well,
of
no,
was
I
like,
would have said something. I would have said something like, "Are we done wasting our time talking fucking politics or what?"
yeah, yeah,
If anyone else has any dumb fucking ideas, I'm all ears. But like,
yeah,
things we are not gonna fucking do is that.
yeah.
It's like when I train the 12-year-old autistic kid I trained. He tries to like sneak in politics. I go, well, good news, kid, is we ain't talking politics. So new topic, go.
Yeah. Tell me more about the University of Minnesota baseball.
Yeah. How's the hockey team doing?
Yeah. So, all right, you want to wrap this bitch up?
We can wrap this up.
All right.
So, admittedly, we're doing this again. What's old is new. Uh, Long story short, we're moving the gym again. So we were recording the last time we moved, and we're doing it again. And so the contractor, we told him, like, because he's getting a paint or whatever. We're like, that wall black, these walls gray. All right. He goes, all right, I got some samples for you. I'll bring them by. I'm like, dude, that is really not fucking necessary. It's whatever. Made him
Yeah.
happy. So he
Yeah.
brings them by, and I'm looking at these paint
Do
samples,
you
and
have anything in a slightly darker black?
I'm like, I'm looking at the grays because I'm like, light gray is light gray,
Yep.
and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, that one. And then like, so then the next day, Chris comes in, and he goes, which one did you like? I go, that one. He goes, well, I like this other one because it's a little bit lighter. I'm like, yeah, but that one looks like a little bit blue. And I stop myself and I go, we have spent entirely too much time trying to think of a shade of fucking gray.
Yeah.
I go,
Yeah.
I don't fucking care. And it's not that fucking important. So I don't know how many seconds that took. Too many.
Yeah.
Way too many fucking seconds.
Yeah. 12 seconds too many.
And then I'm like, dude, you did not need to bring me a fucking sample. And then I forgot to fucking tell him. So then I'm like emailing him like later in the day. And I'm like, yeah, it's this one. And I'm like, great. That was like a 24-hour process for no reason
Yeah. Yep.
whatsoever.
For a paint color.
But yeah, like Seth Wickersham Gray or some shit. I don't fucking know. Wissahickon Gray. I don't know. Oh
Yeah.
no, Wissahickon is the think that's Philadelphia Cricket Club. It's one of the golf courses. I don't know what it is,
Yeah,
but it's gray
it's gray.
and
Yep.
it's light. It's light gray, like I asked.
Yep, does the job. Now, is it a eggshell finish or is it a satin?
Dude, no. Also, I think most commercial, it's all matte. It's all like a matte finish.
Yeah, I think that
I
probably
don't think
makes
anyone
sense.
really goes for like
No one does like high gloss
shine.
fucking
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
commercial. Yeah.
Um, yeah, but now it's like I got to bring his fucking samples back to him at some point. I'm like, already this is too fucking time consuming.
Yeah, I
You
just
could have
told
put any fucking light gray
I
up, and
said
I would
light
have said,
gray.
"Wow,
I don't
what a
care.
great job."
Yeah, what an awesome light gray.
Yeah, that's good. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Yep, yep, yeah, yeah. See that shade of light gray that you chose? Perfect.
Yeah.
That's exactly the blend between white and black that I was looking for.
So
Yeah, that's fun.
we got 2 months of that fun.
Nice. You move into April or yeah,
That's the plan.
yeah.
It'll be actually 2 months from today would be the plan.
Oh, sick.
I don't know who the
420, dude.
yeah, literally. I don't know who the fuck we got and or how the fuck we found him, but like some dude's gonna come help us move and he's got labor and he's like, well, this isn't exactly what we do. But he goes, but I probably have the equipment to do it. It's like, all right, dude, like let's make this fucking happen.
Did you look into that company that I sent you at all?
We didn't get to it because we ask people we
Yeah,
know
the
first.
same
So
same deal when I go to you for everything. I
yeah,
figure I would check your Rolodex before I
yeah.
go somewhere
So
else.
like this dude is a client was from a client and then he came by, like did the whole thing, and then he puts Chris in that client in a group chat, and he goes, "I hope you're fucking ready to come help move some fucking racks at Evolution. I just fucking left there." So yeah, he seems like a hot shit.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's always funny when you can meet those type of people.
Oh, dude, the people we meet they're all fucking tapped.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I've
they're all
told you
fucking
this
crazy.
before, but like I don't know if I've said it on the show, but like with my job, obviously it's like in the corporate world and whatever, and it's like, oh, la di da, whatever. You do your corporate thing. But like I get along best with the moving companies and like the guys that work
Yeah,
in facilities and the security
yeah.
guys. Like those are the people that I gravitate towards. But also because like anytime you need something,
They're the ones.
the ones that are going to do it for you are facilities and security, right? So I always yuck it up with the facilities guys and the security guys, right? And like I make it known pretty early on that like I'm not just some corporate stooge that's going to come in and like talk down to them and like treat them like dog shit because that's what happens, right? Like you get these people that are like,
First thing I do, I'm a cigarette off the
yeah,
facilities guy
yeah, yeah. I want you to know that I'm just as much of a piece of shit as you are. I just wear nicer clothes and
as
don't,
mandated.
yeah, as mandated, right? Like, but it's great. Like I get along great with all those people and it's just fun, right? And some of the other people I work with are like, wow, like how do you know that guy? And I'm like, I don't know. I just shoot the shit with them. Like I just
Well, yeah,
talk.
I started by speaking to him. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
you
I
don't
started
really
by
know
treating
him.
him like a human being.
Yeah.
And saying hi to him every day instead of just looking through him and walking past him every morning.
Well, that's what they always say. Like, it's almost like the gatekeepers of certain businesses. It's like, oh, everyone wants to like meet with the CEO, and it's like you need to meet the people that are like actually in
Yeah,
charge of running the day to day.
yeah, yeah,
Anyone that works, and again, the facilities people, you want to talk fucking intelligent people. You fucking like someone who's in like facilities management,
right.
maybe not like the literal guy sweeping the sidewalk, but like the people involved,
Oh yeah,
like that's your ticket.
yeah. And I mean, it comes in handy, right, when you make friends with these guys. And like I said, in a case of a pharmaceutical company, if we're moving like a biosafety cabinet, and we need to disconnect the vacuum line, which again is a copper pipe that goes into the ceiling. And the scientists were dum-dums and didn't put in a facilities request to get it disconnected. I could be like, hey man, listen, you're never going to fucking believe this, but these idiots didn't put in this request, right? We got to move this shit tomorrow. Is there any way you can get in there and just fucking cut the pipe for me, right? All I need you to do is just cut the pipe. I got the movers coming in tomorrow. They'll handle taking everything apart and moving it, but I can't move the fucking thing when it's still attached to the ceiling. I just need you to cut that. And they'll be like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I'll do that for you tonight before I go home. It's not a big deal. You know what I mean? But like,
I was gonna say, all right, there's a 6-pack behind the fucking
yeah,
dumpster. I'll see you
yeah,
fucking later.
yeah, exactly, right? That's when you show up the next morning with the fucking coffee, right? And be like, hey, thanks, man. Thanks for getting that for me yesterday. Right. But like you have some people that would be like, send an email that's like, good afternoon. We have this event that's happening and we need this done ASAP. Please do your due diligence and see if you can, accommodate our request. It's like, I'm not playing that fucking corporate bullshit. I'll walk in the door and be like, hey guys,
Right
listen.
now, Jerry from facilities ain't reading that email.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk in and be like, listen, you guys can talk all the shit you want about me as soon as I leave, but I need you guys to do me a favor. And I know I'm being a fucking pain in the ass about this, but like, I need your help, right? I need you guys to help me. There's nothing I can do, right? Like, where I'm kind of fucked here, and I'll talk just like that. Like, I'll just go in and just talk to them like they're people, right? And they're like, oh shit, yeah, okay, all right, no problem. And they appreciate it because they're people. Like they're people just like
Like
us,
regular
right?
dudes.
Yeah, like don't give them the corporate fucking runaround of all that shit. And I think that's kind of why I do okay at my job. Is because I recognize like what's in like who's really in charge, like you said, right? And like those are the people that are going to help you out when you need something.
That's the thing is like knowing the CFO doesn't do shit for you.
That does actually nothing for you.
No,
Literally
it's
nothing.
oh wow, that's cool. Like you're the CFO of this company.
Yeah.
You gotta cut a pipe, like
Yeah.
no, but it's like, well, then you're no fucking use to me.
Right, right.
Can you move that fucking cabinet?
Yeah.
No, I
Do you know
can't
how
lift
to
that.
do you know how to
Then with
disconnect the water line from this unit so I can get it moved and drained? Like,
yeah,
yeah. Or like, ah, shit, we forgot a piece. We have to go back into this building that's closed now. So like I gotta go to the security desk and like be like, hey, listen, like I think my badge is probably disactivated because like we've been out of here. But like, can you do me a favor and just let me upstairs? Like there's something I gotta check on. And they're like, yeah, okay. Like, or sometimes they'll be like, yeah, I just have to follow you or whatever. But like I usually, right, every day when I walk in past the security desk, I'm like, hey, how you doing? How's your morning going? Oh, great, awesome. Oh, what are you up to? Like, I just fucking yuck it up with the security guys, right? Like, I can't tell you how many people walk past the security desk and don't even fucking acknowledge their existence. They just fucking tap their badge, the little fucking turnstile thing opens up, and they just walk through. It's like they're fucking ghosts. And it's like, okay, well, when you need to get into the building in off hours, or like I said, after you move out and the badge system is down, who's going to let you in the building? Security guys, right? Like, if you're nice to them and treat them like human beings, they'll remember that and be like, oh, yeah, what do you need? Okay, I can do that for you. Or no, I can't do that. I can't let you in, but, where is it? I'll go look for it for you. Like that type of stuff, right? Like, it's just, I don't know. What do I know, right? I'm just a fucking
nothing.
asshole.
You know nothing.
Yeah. I'm just some fucking dumbass that's pulling the average IQ down for people with a fucking master's degree.
Yep.
So, um, my final thought, potentially a quick one, is Madam Web just came out, and I think it's pretty funny because no one's talking about it. The only
What
things,
what what is this? What is this? What is this?
it's not a Marvel movie, but it's a Spider-Man movie. So technically
Okay.
Sony owns it. It's a spin-off of Spider-Man.
Okay.
So did you not watch the cartoon when you were a kid? The Spider-Man cartoon?
Not that I remember.
Okay. So Madam Web was like in the cartoon, in the Spider-Man cartoon from like the late 90s, early 2000s. Um, so that's where I know the character from, but it's like I think also in the comic books and that TV show, she was an old woman that was like paraplegic and blind. An old blind paraplegic woman that like taught Spider-Man like different shit or whatever. But like this apparently is like an origin story. So it's the girl from 50 Shades of Grey, is Madam Web, but she's young and she's not a paraplegic and she's not blind. But it's about her like early life and like finding out she has superpowers.
Was this a movie or a series
It's a movie.
on
And
Disney Plus? No,
no,
because it
because
was
it's
owned
owned
by
by
Sony.
Sony. Yeah.
What's it on?
It's not on anything yet. It just came
Oh,
out in the movie theater like this
oh,
week, last week,
wow.
maybe.
Out of the fucking loop, huh?
Yeah. And it also has that girl, Sydney Sweeney, in it, who quite literally is only famous because she has massive tits. Um,
Who the fuck is this person?
I don't know. I don't know what else she's in. She's been all over fucking social media. But one of the funniest things I saw was a picture of her next to Sid the Sloth from Ice Age. And now I can never not see that when I see her. Like, I don't think she's attractive. Like, I don't think her face is attractive, but she has massive tits. So like everyone is in love with her. And she's like the new like it girl. She's all over. She is in Madam Web, right? She was in something else. She's been in like a couple weird things and TV shows and movies, I think. Um, but I don't know. I don't know
What's her
what the
name?
Sydney Sweeney. I just know that she's been all over the place, right? Like she's been on Hot Ones recently. She's doing all kinds of like interviews and press tours and
I
all
have
kinds of
no
crazy
idea who
shit.
this person is. Uh, Euphoria
Okay,
and
yeah, that was
White
a big one.
White Lotus.
Yeah, okay, so people shit their pants for both of those. People love Euphoria, and people have I hear people talk about White Lotus all the time. So I guess that's how she became famous. She was in those two shows.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, that was a good movie. I don't know who she was in that movie, but I don't remember her at all.
I have no clue who this person is.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that movie came out last week and apparently it fucking bombed.
Oh,
And
good.
the the reviews were this is the worst superhero movie since Morbius.
I
And
don't
if you
even
and if you remember, Morbius was the
go.
last movie that came out that Sony owns as the spin-off from Spider-Man. So the last time Sony tried to do a Spider-Man spin-off, Morbius, it absolutely tanked. Everyone hated it. I watched it. I didn't think it was terrible. Um, but it wasn't like, oh my God, that was a great movie, right? It's just, I think, like, I watched it and was like, I think the people were being a little harsh on it. But, like, to be fair, also, it wasn't like a great movie. Um, but yeah, it's hilarious that they said this movie is the worst superhero movie since Morbius, which is effectively saying it's the worst superhero movie since the last time Sony made a superhero movie.
Yeah, maybe they should not.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I mean, I know we've talked about this a little bit, but like even Marvel has kind of has fallen off, right? Like they didn't have that staying power, right? It's like Marvel was the shit for like, you know, 10 years, call it roughly, almost a decade. If you count from Iron Man in 2008 for to, maybe go 2012 to or 2010 to 2020, right? Is that when did Endgame come out? Was that 2020?
Probably 19,
Yeah,
18.
19 or 20. So it's a solid 10-year run, right? Of great movies. And even Marvel fell off, right? And like the DC universe has never been able to get it
No, they
together
can't figure it out.
outside of the Christopher Nolan Batmans, right? And it's like clearly Sony can't get their shit together. I mean, I think the standalone Spider-Man movies are pretty good, right? I think Tobey Maguire was great. Andrew Garfield was good, but now the what's his dick? Tom Holland is not really a standalone Spider-Man. He's part of MCU because Sony and Disney made that deal. Um, but yeah, I mean, Sony's just bad. Like it's hard, apparently. Like everyone thought it was easy, right? For years and years and years, everyone was like, "Oh, the only thing people want to do is make superhero movies because they do so well." It's like, well, it turns out Marvel was just really good at it, and no one else was, and now even Marvel isn't good at it anymore. So,
The TV they can make though, Sony.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Even them though, they've kind of not been as popular anymore. I feel like Vizio is like the big TV company now. I mean, Sony definitely
Um,
still has PlayStation. That's probably what's keeping them afloat as a company. But
I wouldn't be surprised. So I feel like Sony's still like the luxury brand, so
yeah,
people will still
yeah,
buy
that's true.
Sony's
Like Sony is like the Cadillac of TVs.
because you got like the kind of people that buy Sony's are also the kind of people that like hire an audio video company to come in and do. Also, does
Right.
Sony own Vizio?
No, Vizio just got bought out by Walmart, actually.
Oh, I feel like someone used to own them. Maybe it was Sony, like way back in the day.
Yeah,
Anyway, doesn't matter. Um, yeah, like so, like if if you wanted a new TV, and I know your TV's new, you wanted a new TV. What are you doing? Probably either going to the store or you're fucking ordering one.
right.
Some people will still go to an audio video company, pay a fucking premium on the TV.
Right.
They install it, they wire it, they do all that. And it's like, bro, it's not that hard to buy a fucking TV and a fucking wall mount. And you just spent like an extra 2 grand to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So Suckatron was a Sony. I think it was the Sony Vega. That's what we had. It was the first flat screen TV. And by flat screen, I mean the glass was flat
It
on the
was flat.
screen. The back protruded out like fucking
Fucking
3 feet. And it was
sucked.
so heavy.
Yeah, we destroyed it in the dorm room.
Yeah. Yeah. RIP to Suckatron. All because on the day we fucking moved it out of my house in Medford,
It rained.
it rained. So me and Bill carrying that thing down my front steps trying to get it in his car. We had it covered too. Like I think we put a towel on it. But like that again, this is, you know, 2000s fucking TV technology. One drop of rain probably made it in and hit the exact perfect spot and that TV was like, "Nope, I'm broken now."
Or it could have been you and Bill's great luck.
Yeah, most likely. That's probably more likely. So,
Because you two schlepped it down the stairs in Medford, into the car, down to Bridgewater, probably parked somewhere fucking stupid.
yeah.
Schlep it up into the second floor, furthest point
Yep.
away,
Yep.
just for it to not work.
Yep. Just to go throw it in Tower Lot.
Yep. I disposed of that fucker.
And smash it first. We smashed it
Yeah,
first.
so I disassembled it first,
Yep.
threw what I could down the trash chute.
Yep. Was that an
Then
elevator going up situation too?
no.
No.
um so I was left with just the tube
Yeah.
in this big fucking thing.
Yeah.
So I think I did try to smash it and that didn't work. But I was also like not trying to like I'm like this could actually like damage the floor. This thing is fucking gigantic. Cuz like the casing's gone, the speaker's gone, everything's fucking gone.
Right. Right.
Just the
It's the
fucking
literal
tube.
tube. Yeah.
So I started hitting it with the Swiffer or the back of the Swiffer and that was like breaking, but then all of a sudden, like there was a bunch of like dust and smoke coming out of it.
Yeah, like God knows what kind of gas was in those
Yeah,
tubes, whether it
probably
was
not
like
great.
argon gas or like something fucking weird.
Yep. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It was fucking. I mean, that might start to explain why I am how I am. Breathed in too many fucking chemicals as a kid.
Yeah, TV smoke. Don't
So
breathe
then,
this.
yeah. So then it gets to the point where I'm like, dude, this thing ain't breaking. So put it in like 4 or 5 trash bags, pulled into tower lot, got out of my car, whipped open the back seat, in one move, pulled it out of the car and threw it over the fence. Got back in the car and left.
Yep. Probably still there.
You know what? I didn't throw it very deep in there. Someone definitely found it.
It's a better
Threw it in.
story if it's still there, though. All
Yeah.
right. Well, that that's gonna do it for us. So thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button up above, hit the like button down below. Subscribe if you're an audio only person, whatever service you're using. If you use Spotify or Apple, you can go ahead and give us 5 stars and a review. That'd be super cool of you to do that. Um, you can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Twitter is Sarcasm_speaks. Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks. Website, you guessed it, sarcasmspeaks.com. Go to the merch store, buy some merch while you're buying some shit. Check out the show notes below. You will see all kinds of fun promo codes and deals and links and all kinds of stuff down there. So check those out. Support those guys. They support us. Um, and yeah, until next time, good night, everybody.